Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel, Antibreda1M. It's a late night video for me and I'm going to do a talk on my personal development and how I react to people in anti-relational terms. What I mean by this is when something really good happens to me, when I meet someone who I'm really interested in for some reason, it could be a platonic or erotic attraction to someone, I will often go through various stages of thought. Um, and this originates very clearly, if you look at it carefully, from my parentage and from my upbringing as a child. It's a bit hard to explain, but I'll try and go through it. So let's see how I go. So I'm just thinking of some people that I met on a few occasions, and I'll admit they were like pretty girls or something like that, or people who are really good, strong personalities, really good mentors or good role models or something, whom I neglected the opportunity to make good friends with. So in the case of Elise, who is a girl, who is a woman or lady that I met while selling the big issue, um, she was very she approached me and she sat down next on the bench next to me, and I was really surprised that she actually wanted to spend some time to chat with me. It was just amazing that she wanted to do that. And I don't know what her motive was, because like, obviously it wasn't a sexual thing necessarily. It probably wasn't a sexual thing, but she probably had a reason um, to want to console me, or to come to terms with me, or to gain my trust in her or something. And it's really rare for someone to sit next to you on a park bench and talk with you like an equal, like that. Like, I've been a big issue seller for 7 years, and no one has ever come up to me and sat next to me for that long and actually had a really good chat with me. I mean, there are a few people who stick around and, they don't mind making friends with you, but she took the initiative and she actually sat next to me for like a few minutes, and she did it on at least 3 occasions we met each other, incidentally, on the street. So I was absolutely amazed, and I just don't know how to express my gratitude for someone. She was one in, I don't know how many millions of people I've met on the streets as a big issue seller. So the first feeling that I generated for myself was desolation and obscurity. Um, I felt like isolated, and I felt alone and afraid and not sure what sort of person this would be to talk with. And I didn't know what to say. I just said things like I would in a normal classroom at school or something. I just responded in a very, um, just a very stereotypical and stock manner. I think she asked me questions like, what books are you reading, that sort of thing. And she talked about my sales. She talked about how I could just ideas on where I could sell better and that sort of thing. How my sales were going, just questions like that. But she was really friendly, and she was just so rare. Anyway. So the next stage in my psyche was lust and personal greed, hypersexualized. So I got to the stage where I thought, okay, Howard, is she approaching me because she wants to have sex with me? And this is like a really weird sort of question to ask, but as a man and someone who has random and obscure and weird sort of sexualized thoughts, this was something that went through my mind. And it was almost like, you know, and feeling affronted, like, are you trying to get something out of me? Am I sexually attractive to you? That sort of thing. So it's like a really weird sort of thing. It's really hard to explain, but I will explain it on this channel because I have the opportunity to do so. Um, the next stage was pulling away to test the person. It's like, okay, you want something from me, so I'm going to pull away and test you to see how you react, sort of thing. Um, it's also called playing hard to get. A lot of girls, I imagine, do play hard to get because they know how attractive they are and so on, and that turns on, males and makes them desire the person even more. But for someone like me, obviously, he's not very attractive, or not attractive anymore, I should say. Pulling away to test people is it's pretty mundane. It's a pretty banal and pretty. It's prone to failure, pretty much anyway. And finally, once they've left, which is probably what's going to happen and what's going to eventuate when you do play hard to get, and that's what happened. I never saw Elise again. She never came back. But the chances were that she would have walked straight past me, sort of thing, once she knew what sort of person I was, or she seemed to have gained that idea of that I was such a hard person to get to understand. The final stage that I mentioned here was showing off. The idea that I am showing off about how much passion she had for me at one stage, and that I have such a long memory of how much she wanted me at one stage. It's like my ego, my pride, um, and if we don't maintain contact with each other on Facebook or some other way, it's like the end of the relationship. I'm not talking about the personal relationship, like the intimate relationship. I'm talking about the end of the professional relationship. These sort of platonic or semi-erotic relationships don't go very far for me because I don't have practice in them. And although there are many people who I've seen, quite a few people in my life, including Elise, who I mentioned specifically in my life, who have impressed me and who I want to get to know better, I have not placed myself in a favorable position to do that because I've been too scared. And all those four stages that I went through, I think it's four stages that I went through, show what sort of a selfish person I've been and how hard it is for me to overcome those difficulties. So that's a summary of why I'm still a 42-year-old virgin, why I can't make friendships very easily, and why it's so hard for me to get a get a bearing and get popular in this life that I lead. So I know there are a lot of people in this world who have lots of friends but feel very lonely. I am somewhat the opposite. I have very few friends, um, but I'm still a little bit lonely as well. Sort of like I have a strong memory for people and I love to make friends, but I just don't have the acumen to do that. So I hope you learned something from this video, and if you've got any comments, let me know in the comment section below. Excellent, excellent. Okay, bye for now.